Today we are learning how to classify and measure angles. Please copy down the standard benchmark indicator on a clean page in your math notebook. The student will classify angles as right, obtuse, or acute. Classifying angles. An angle is formed by two rays with the same endpoint. The rays are the sides of the angle. You can name an angle using a point on each side and the vertex. The vertex must appear as the middle letter. When it is not confusing, you can name an angle using the vertex alone. The angle shown above can be called angle XYZ, angle ZYX, or angle Y, and it's always the same symbol for angle in front of it, no matter how it's named. And it doesn't matter whether you start with the letter at the top of the angle or at the bottom of the angle, as long as the vertex is always in the middle. Angles can also be classified by their size. An acute angle is smaller than a right angle. A right angle is like the corner of an index card. It is 90 degrees. An obtuse angle is greater than a right angle, but smaller than a straight angle. And a straight angle is a line, or 180 degrees. Example 1. Name the angle in three ways. For this one to our right, the vertex is S. So the angle can be named angle UST, angle TSU, or angle S. Try it. Name each angle in three ways. So if we look at A here, we can name it angle ABC. We can also name it angle CBA. Or, because it's not attached to any other angle, we can also name it angle B. For question B, we can name the angle DEF. We can also name an angle FED. Or, again, because it's not attached to any other angles, we can name it by the vertex, so it's angle E. For C, we can name it angle HIG. We can also name it angle GIH. Or we can name it by the vertex angle I. For example 2, we can classify each angle as acute, right, obtuse, or straight. Since the angle to our right here is smaller than a right angle, it is acute. So for the triad, we're going to do the same thing with these four angles here. So for D, we know it's at a 90-degree angle because I put the little box in the corner, which always tells you it's 90 degrees. So we know this is a right angle. For E, we can tell that the angle is clearly wider than 90 degrees, but it's not a straight line, so it's going to be an obtuse angle. For F, we have a straight line, and that means it's also a straight angle. And finally, for G, again, that is wider than 90 degrees, but less than the straight line of 180, so it's also obtuse. For measuring angles, we measure angles in units called degrees. Use the symbol that's a little tiny floating O, or 0, to indicate degrees. A complete circle measures 360 degrees. So if you start and measure all the way around the circle, you'll come back and you'll end up at 360 degrees. An acute angle measures more than 0 but less than 90. A right angle measures exactly 90 degrees, and an obtuse angle measures more than 90 and less than 180. A protractor is a tool that measures angles. You should have picked up a protractor in class today to help you do this activity. Example, what is the measure of angle FGH? Step 1, place your protractor so that the middle mark or hole on its bottom side is exactly on the vertex of the angle. So you should see a little circle in the middle that you can use to line that up. So step 2 is to place the protractor line that comes off of the 0 mark there over one side of the angle. So go ahead and line it up using your protractor there. And then you're going to read the number where the other side of the angle meets the degree scale on the protractor. Since the angle is an acute angle, use the smaller number in the pair. If it's close to 90 and you're not sure which one to use, you're measuring the gap between the two rays. So always find the set of numbers that has the 0 on the bottom of your angle. So in this case, you're using the inside set of numbers because that's where the 0 is and they're counting up. In this case, the measure of angle FGH is 75 degrees. For the try it here, we need to find the measure of each angle. For A and B, they've already photocopied on top of it a protractor for us to use. So we're going to start with A here, and you can see they've lined up the bottom line of the protractor with the 0. They have the vertex in the middle, and then we just measure the gap. We know the 0 and the bottom of this angle are on the left side, so we're going to use the outside set of numbers. So if we follow it around, we can measure the angle at 110 degrees. For B, the angle is facing to the right, so again, they lined up the vertex, they have the line flat with the bottom of the angle, and we're going to use the inside set of numbers because the 0 is on the inside there, and that's where we measure the gap between the two rays. The next one, if we look, it goes up to 30 degrees. For C, you're going to need to take your protractor and line it up. So find the little 0 mark. It's a little hole right in the middle there. Line that up on the vertex. Look at what side the 0 is on. It should be on the bottom on the left here. And then you're going to take your line and measure it here. If your line does not extend all the way up to the top of a protractor, you can take a ruler or a straight edge and trace the line farther out so it actually crosses over for your angle here. So for this one, because I'm a computerized one, I'm going to take my angle measurement here and bring it up so it lines up. Okay, and you should get 90, 91, 92 degrees. If you're within a degree or two, I will count you as correct because it's a little hard on some of these worksheets to see quite where it lines up. So as long as you're within a degree or two, you are measuring correctly. So there's our angle popped out. So now I'm going to take my protractor and I'm going to move it over to letter D. And I want you to do the same with yours. And again, first thing to do is make sure you get the vertex lined up with that little hole in the middle. And then make sure the bottom line that comes off that mark is lined up with the bottom of your angle. And again, we're just going to look at and move my line here so we get an angle measurement, and you're going to look at yours and you should get 145 degrees. So as you can see, as long as you're within a degree or two, you're measuring your angles correctly. Make sure you always line up that center mark with the vertex and you always get the bottom line lined up with it. Please make sure you have all of the work copied down and then glue this in your math notebook. The protractor is yours to hold onto. Keep it in your pencil pouch or somewhere safe because you will need it periodically throughout the rest of the year on math minutes, quizzes, and that sort of thing.